man was 3 months behind on his mortgage payments. He thought money was the biggest problem in his life, until a doctor discovered something inside his chest that should not have existed, something that would change his life forever. Most people visit a hospital hoping for good news. Elias Reyes walked into one expecting an ordinary day. The appointment was supposed to be routine, a quick checkup, a few questions, then back to normal life. At least that was the plan. The waiting room was quiet. Around him, people stared at their phones, flipped through magazines, or waited patiently for their names to be called. Elias did the same. A few minutes later, a nurse called his name. Nothing about the moment seemed unusual, and yet everything was about to change. When his name was finally called, Elias followed the doctor into the examination room. The physician was calm, experienced, and respected by his patients. At first, the appointment felt routine. A few questions, a few observations. Nothing unusual. Then the doctor noticed something that made him pause. Additional imaging was ordered. Moments later, the results appeared on the screen. The room fell silent. The doctor studied the scan once, then twice, then a third time, because what he was seeing should not have been possible. Elias Reyes appeared to have 2 hearts. At first, Elias thought there had been some kind of misunderstanding. 2 hearts. The idea sounded impossible, but the scans were clear, and what the doctor said next was even harder to explain. Every previous medical record showed only 1 heart. The doctor had no explanation, only one undeniable fact. Somehow, Elias Reyes now had a 2nd heart. After leaving the hospital, Elias stood still. The city moved around him as if nothing had happened. Cars passed. People hurried home. Life continued normally. But for Elias, everything had changed. For 33 years, he had lived believing he was just another ordinary man. Now he wasn't so sure. Elsewhere, far from the hospital, a confidential medical file landed on an executive desk. The name on the file read, Elias Reyes. A powerful figure reviewed the documents in silence. Someone important had just learned about the man with 2 hearts, and they were already paying attention. The man who received the file, Sebastian Alvaro, had spent years searching for answers, and somehow he had finally found the impossible. Miles away, Elias Reyes was facing a mystery of his own. A mystery that shouldn't have existed. How could one person have 2 hearts? A few hours later, the doctor finally called. The 2nd heart was real. Every scan confirmed it. But according to the tests, the organ appeared completely dormant. Before Elias could make sense of what he had just learned, Elias, I need you to pay up. It's been months. The woman outside didn't care about medical mysteries. She cared about one thing, which is money. And money was something Elias Reyes had run out of a long time ago. A 2nd heart. An extra organ his body wasn't even using. At least, that's what the doctors believed. Then a thought entered his mind. A thought born from desperation. A thought so reckless, most people would never dare consider it. If the 2nd heart truly served no purpose, then maybe, just maybe, someone out there would be willing to pay for it. And that was the moment everything changed. The 2nd heart was real, but according to the doctors, the organ served no purpose. Desperate for money, Elias Reyes searched for buyers. The next morning, nothing had happened. No buyers, no offers, no replies. Life continued as usual, and as he traveled to work, Elias tried to convince himself it had all been a mistake. Then, a message arrived. For the first time, someone was taking him seriously. This wasn't a joke. This wasn't a scam. This was real. For a moment, Elias hesitated. Then he sent the file. Miles away, someone opened the file. And just like that, Elias Reyes found his first buyer. After receiving the medical film, the broker studied the images carefully, but he still thought it might be a scam. If the images were real, the discovery could be worth a fortune. But before discussing buyers, he wanted to meet the sender first. Later that evening, the two men finally met. The seller was Elias Reyes, and the broker was Patrick Villanueva. Elias told his story. The doctors, the examinations, and the dormant second heart. It sounded impossible. Patrick was interested, but he wasn't convinced. Photos could be edited. Stories could be invented. He needed proof. There was another problem. The second heart was dormant. It wasn't beating, and buyers don't pay millions for unanswered questions. But if the heart was real, and if it was healthy, everything could change for both men. Patrick knew a private clinic, a place that could verify the truth, so he arranged an examination. Patrick scheduled another meeting days later. 2 days later, Elias arrived, but there was one condition. He would have to wear a blindfold. Elias immediately objected. Patrick only smiled. Trust me, I'm still alive, aren't I? Then came the real question. Do you want to sell the heart or not? The examination had been arranged, but there was one condition. The location would remain secret. And before entering the van, Elias Reyes had a decision to make. Elias wanted answers. He wanted money. And more than anything, he wanted to know the truth. So he agreed. As the van pulled away, doubt began to creep in. What if this was a mistake? What if he never came back? The further they traveled, the more questions appeared. Was the heart really worth all this? Or had desperation finally clouded his judgment? After nearly an hour, the journey ended, and for the first time, Elias saw where he had been taken. The facility wasn't large. It wasn't luxurious, but it was equipped for one purpose: finding answers. For the first time, someone would verify the impossible. No assumptions, no theories, only evidence. Minutes later, the results appeared, and suddenly, the room became very quiet. The results had arrived. The scans were complete, and the impossible had finally been confirmed. The clinic reached the same conclusion. He wasn't imagining it. The first doctor had been right. There were two hearts inside his chest. But finding the second heart wasn't enough. The doctors still had to evaluate it. Could it be safely removed? And would it continue beating after the transplant? The findings were encouraging. The dormant heart was healthy. It showed no signs of disease. Every test suggested it remained viable. And according to the clinic, it could potentially function. For the first time, the conversation turned to money. The clinic explained that a case like this was extraordinarily rare, and rarity always carried value. Then came the estimate. It wasn't a final offer. It wasn't a guarantee, but it was more money than Elias had ever imagined earning. The number stayed in his mind. It could erase debts. It could change his future. But accepting it meant moving forward. And there would be no turning back. The evaluation was complete. The estimate had been given. Now the clinic needed an answer. All Elias had to do was sign. The evaluation was complete. The offer had been made. And now, the decision became real. Cases like Elias Reyes were almost unheard of. So before anything moved forward, the clinic made a call because someone had spent years waiting for news like this. Sebastian Alvaro had never worried about money. His family had accumulated wealth long before he was born. While others chased success, Sebastian spent his life chasing something else. As a child, he discovered the journals by accident. Forgotten books, handwritten records, and stories his family rarely discussed. The oldest entries belonged to an ancestor who had lived centuries earlier. A man obsessed with unexplained events. Events that appeared only once every few generations. And according to his records, they always began the same way. Most people would have dismissed the stories. Sebastian never did. As the years passed, the journals became an obsession. He wanted answers. Answers money alone could never buy. Elias knew nothing about any of this. He wasn't searching for mysteries. He wasn't searching for answers. He was searching for a way out. And for the first time in years, one seemed to be within reach. So after hours of hesitation, Elias Reyes made his decision. A simple signature. A simple agreement. Unaware that he had just become part of a story much older than himself. The journals described impossible cases, separated by centuries, appearing without warning, and every account ended with the same observation. Something followed, something no one could explain, and after hundreds of years, it might be happening again. The papers had been signed, the decision had been made, and there was no turning back. The following morning, the clinic began preparing for the procedure. The negotiations were over. Now everything depended on the surgery. One final review was performed. The dormant heart remained stable. The surgical plan was approved, and the operating team was ready. The clinic could see the second heart. They could measure it. They could remove it. But there was one thing they still couldn't answer. No one knew how it had appeared. Hours of preparation led to this moment. A procedure never before attempted. A patient unlike any they had studied. For hours, the team worked carefully. Every step was monitored. Every decision carried risk. By evening, the operation was complete. The dormant heart had been removed. And for the first time since the discovery, Elias had only one heart. When Elias opened his eyes, the surgery was over. The second heart was gone. But waiting beside his bed was proof that his life had just changed forever. The surgery was over. The dormant heart was gone. And Elias Reyes was still alive. The first few days were difficult. There was pain. There was discomfort. But every morning, he felt a little stronger. The final agreements were honored. The paperwork was completed. And the payment arrived. It wasn't enough to make him rich, but it was enough to change his life. The first thing he did wasn't celebrate. It wasn't luxury. It was freedom. One by one, the debts disappeared. For years, every purchase required calculation. Every peso had a purpose. But now, he could finally buy what he needed. He wasn't interested in luxury. He wasn't chasing status. But for the first time, he could afford something for himself. The money didn't make him wealthy, but it made life easier. The constant pressure was gone, and possibilities began to appear. After years of showing up, after years of doing what he had to do, Elias finally said goodbye. The surgery was behind him. The debts were gone, and the future was finally his to decide. The doctors said recovery would take months, but 6 weeks later, something didn't look right. The scar was fading, much faster than it should have. Elias Reyes had just quit his job. For the first time in years, his future belonged entirely to him. 6 weeks after the surgery, life looked very different. The debts were gone, and for the first time in years, Elias wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. With a little breathing room, Elias began making plans that once felt impossible. Not long after, Elias moved into a new home. It wasn't extravagant, but it was a place he could finally call his own. Piece by piece, the empty rooms came to life. A few new things, better groceries, and comforts he had gone without for years. The debts were gone. The surgery was behind him. His old job was behind him. And for the first time in a very long time, Elias was happy. Then one morning, he noticed something impossible. The scar was gone. Not faded, not reduced, gone. That was when Elias decided to return. He didn't mention the surgery. He didn't mention the secret clinic. He only asked for another X-ray. The doctor didn't seem surprised. To him, the results looked exactly as expected. So why were there two hearts again?